Welcome back to the ADP Average Dudes podcast. I am your average dude, Matt Mormann. I'm going to be joined by an above average dude, Ryan McDaniel from the Views on the 573 podcast. This is our tight end talk, and this is the final rookie preview for me and Ryan in our rookie deep dive here on the ADP. Let's spend 5 minutes talking about tight ends. Why don't we? Ryan, fill in those entire 5 minutes by just singing the praises of Brock Bowers.
Well, this hurts immediately when I go see the tight end tab on Brugler's for the tight ends. I immediately see a picture of Brock Bowers breaking the tackle of a Tennessee defender. So that's nice. Thanks for that. Yeah, I feel like all these 5 minutes can be used talking about how great Brock is, if we're gonna be honest, because this guy is unbelievable. He from his freshman year on, is a guy that has immediately been an impact player from day one. And when had over 800 yards his freshman year, 900 yards his sophomore year, missed some games last year, only went over 700. But this guy is a special athlete for his size and what he is. Now the inline stuff, that's something to be a little bit worried about. But as far as fantasy stuff, we're not worried about that. We're just like, fine. Just give this guy the ball. Put him in the slot.
If he's a bad blocker, that's almost a good thing for fantasy, right? Like, and no one ever was like clapping for Zach Ertz's attempts at blocking. We were just really happy with Zach Ertz for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like Brock is going to be the landing spots for him are going to be of the utmost importance. And I think Indy and the Jets are probably the two I have my eye on. We've seen Denver. I've seen Seattle kind of mentioned. I think they're going in another direction.
Yeah.
McDonald seeing how well Andrews has done. I'm sure he would be all in on that. Cincinnati, maybe just want the, get the generational tight end, pair him with the generational wide receiver and Jamar Chase, just have some fun.
And the generational quarterback, just get all of them.
And the generational quarterback.
The infinity gauntlet of all.
Exactly. So, yeah, I feel like for him, landing spots are going to be the utmost importance in where he lands. If it's the Jets, how he fits with Aaron Rodgers, I'm not sure. I do feel like he will be immediately impactful because who else is going to be catching the ball? It's going to be Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams.
Yeah.
And that's it. Now, if you're Indy, right. If you're Indy, there are more options there, but for Anthony Richardson, if neither Downs or Pittman are open, Brock is an excellent safety valve for him to throw it to, who is incredible at getting yards after the catch. So I feel like for me, those are probably two of the spots I have an eye on. But I've heard you talk about him. You don't love Indy?
I don't love the Indy fit because he's a zero as a blocker. And I feel like, Andrews, not saying Andrews is a mauler. Like, Andrews is no Gronk. But Andrews is at least an adequate blocker. And I think, that helps Lamar because there's so much of a running basis in that offense. That just Andrews being something as a blocker is a necessity. I think that just with Richardson and Taylor, the running focus of that offense, the tight end needs to be able to block a little bit.
That's true. That's true. Listen, it's hard to nail down any spots for Brock. It really is. It's just like, man, where can this guy go? Where can this guy have a fantasy impact? And if it's like Denver, then I don't know about that.
Yeah. There's no quarterback there. New Orleans could be a fit.
So, listen. Yeah, New Orleans can be a fit, but I feel like tackle is probably what they're going to do. I feel they just need somebody out there to tackle. So, Brock, it's so hard to kind of nail down, but this guy is going to be good. He might not be. It might not be his first year, but later on, he's going to be really good.
Yeah, and that's one thing that for me, from just a dynasty standpoint, the way I play, the way I strategize, I usually don't invest heavily at tight end. So I'm probably not going to get any Brock Bowers. But if you play the game in a role where you try to, value tight ends more, then yeah, Brock Bowers is really freaking good. And it may not happen year one, and most times it doesn't. This was a real exception last year with Sam Laporta. That was a real special situation that arose for him. Typically doesn't hit on year one. Ryan, I've got 3 other tight ends I just want to mention here. None of these guys are even in the same stratosphere as Brock Bowers, but these are 3 other guys who I think could be a little bit relevant, and we'll see what happens. It's Jatavian Sanders, Theo Johnson, and Ben Sinnot. Do any of those names stick out to you?
Well, I know Theo has had a good draft process, but wasn't a guy that made a whole lot of headway at Penn State. Peter could probably say, "Oh, I remember this guy. He didn't do jack." But yeah, he's had a good process. Not a whole lot of production there, but he tested like crazy with what all he's done. It's 6'6", 259. There's some potential in here, but Sanders is probably the number 2 tight end in all likelihood. 6'3", 245. I don't know about his blocking as well. I don't know if there's anything there. Route running, that's something to take in consideration. And I'm seeing a comparison Brugler has as Gerald Everett.
Okay.
As somebody for Sanders.
That's fine. Yeah.
Gerald Everett's a fine player.
He has had weeks of relevance. I don't know if I would say he's had seasons of relevance, but he has had weeks within seasons of relevance. For many seasons, he has had weeks of relevance. And that's fine. That's how tight end works, is that we're going to look at it and say, oh, hey, he's playing a really good matchup this week against the Arizona Cardinals, who are 32nd against tight ends, and so we'll pick him up and play him that week. That's fine. There's about 15 tight ends that are like that, where you go, well, my guy has a hard matchup, or I didn't have a guy, and so I'm just gonna plug this guy in for a week, right? That's how this silly game works. Ben Sinnot, do you have anything on him? Is he kind of similar to those other guys?
Ben is kind of one of those other guys. I feel like he had a good year production wise. It was his best year by far, and that's something I didn't really kind of see people talk about. You kind of felt like it was more of a guy that blocks a little bit more than he usually catches. One thing is, though, it sounds like he is a dependable guy. He started 27 straight games. So for a tight end, you like that. If he's a guy that's going to block, going to be an inline blocker, you'd love to see that as well. And for a guy that's around 6'3", 6'4", 250, that's great. But, catching wise, I mean, I don't really know about him. I don't really know if last year, having over 600 yards catching, if that was something that he can bring to the NFL level. I'm not sure about that. I don't think, I think this is just honestly a weak tight end class in general, headlined by a great player.
Yeah, there's one special guy, and then really nothing else to get too excited about. I think all those other guys are ones who, at best, we may see a. I'm gonna go your guy, Ryan. At best, we may see a Chico Conquo rookie year, right? Where get some good stuff there towards the end of the season, fall into a couple touchdowns. That'll probably be about it, really, rookie year wise. And we'll see what happens moving forward. You never know. Is there any other tight ends that you had of note?
Cade Stover's one from Ohio State that I'm looking at, from Ohio State. Don't really know about him. Probably more so like an NFL role player, tight end type of guy. I'm thinking kind of like Jeremy Ruckert, with
Yeah.
the Jets, another Ohio State
Yeah.
tight end. So I'm looking at Stover, Tanner McLaughlin from Arizona, Jared Wiley is somebody I've seen start to rise up a little bit as far as tight ends. Brugler has him as his 4th rated tight end. But I mean, other than that, I mean, yeah, Brock is the guy this year, and if you want a tight end, hope there's somebody great next year, and hope it's a better class. In all likelihood, it probably will be, but it's just headlined by this one guy in Brock Bowers who's just like, man, he would have been good coming out his freshman year.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Ryan. Well, that does it for our big old rookie deep dive preview here on the ADP Average News Podcast. Ryan McDaniel, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at RyanViews573 on Twitter. You can find the Twitter pod at 573pods. And you want to check out Views from the 573, entertainment from the 573. Check us out there where you guys get your podcast on Views. We probably got one more mock draft 3.0 coming up. We're not too far away from the draft and really excited about that. So we'll have that coming up and we'll see what we do for the draft. I'm really wanting to do another live cover of the NFL draft, but we'll have to see how that goes. And if it happens, it happens. If not, no big deal. You can just hear about my panic for the Titans 7th pick in the group chat for the next week. So, and honestly, I'm probably not that panicked about it. It's just me just playing a worst case scenario there, which for the Titans, for my teams, feels more likely than not. So don't ask me to give any percentages on that because I'm going to say 100% every time. So you can find me there, find the pods there. I'm actually going to be on another podcast maybe here pretty soon. So there'll be more draft talk there. Also, you won't be able to listen to me on the pod, but you can go to our Alternative Football Network, UFL Insiders podcast. I'm doing shorts for them. So if you're on that channel, I'm the one doing those shorts. So if you want to go check those out, I'll be thrilled about that. It's a lot of time to put in work for those shorts. There's no Peter Lewis jumping off of ladders or anything, but it's still a good time, and you can check those out there. So yeah, I think that's everything.
Well, that is Ryan McDaniel. I am Matt Mormann. Thank you all for joining us for all these rookies, and we will see you all next time.